What weird things happen during sex that nobody warns you about? I'm a woman with long hair and poor eyesight, so I always have to play my hair back. Learned that early on. And if I want to see anything I have to have my contacts in. When people said you had to prepare for sex, this was not what I had in mind. Water is not a lubricant. Sometimes, hypothetically, the girl could be on top riding and you could wind up for a playful slap on the ass, and accidentally slap yourself directly in the balls, causing great pain for one party and uproarious laughter for the other, pretty much derailing the whole thing. I wouldn't know anything about this, but it happened to a friend of mine. I'm waking up to ash and dust. I miss her ass and I slap my nuts. Your hand cramps up or your elbow starts hurting. Some toilet paper leaves clitty litter. Having sex on the beach is not what it's made out to be, even when on a towel. Sand gets everywhere. As it happens, sand is not a good lubricant. Also, you can get disapproving looks from the other people there. When you spoon with a girl after sex and your dick shrinks and sticks to her back like a piece of chewed up bubble gum. Reapplying lube and then doing the old rodeo cowboy hand gesture because you can't find the towel. So you just kinda keep your hand elevated like you're afraid to ask Ms. Lang a question in 8th grade. How having sex like they do in porno movies is actually quite physically exhausting and doesn't feel very good. I think Ron Jeremy once said, if it looks bad, it feels good. If it looks good, it feels bad. All those crazy positions aren't to enhance the pleasure. They're to get better camera angles. Also, sex can last too long and those marathon sessions aren't necessarily a good thing. I've had a few sessions that lasted multiple hours and it wasn't all that much fun for either of us towards the end. She dries up, we both get tired, etc., etc. Finally, cuddling can be awkward because you'll be trying to figure out where to put that one arm without your partner cutting the circulation off. Sometimes you may get a bad headache as you get closer, especially for men. If it happens more than once or twice, see a doctor. Sex headaches can be a sign of something severe. Can't get sex headaches if you don't have sex. Pointing at temple meme guy. My mouth dries up to the point when I swallow it sticks and I choke and have to stop and get a drink. I guess from heavy breathing, moaning and panting. Or getting so wound up from him I almost pass out. Blurry vision afterwards. All those vaginal juices have to come from somewhere. You realize your cat likes to watch. This is the worst. Especially as they're not only watching but curious. You're in the heat of the moment, feeling good, forgetting you even have a cat, and then, you feel their little paws in places they should never be. Some people are absolutely amazing, sexy, wonderful people, but you just don't enjoy sex with each other. Sometimes it's libido differences and sometimes it's just certain things don't do it for you. I dated someone who had a high sex drive like me, but she loved teasing. I don't mind it sparingly, but literally every time she deliberately stopped before I was finished as she got off on me being frustrated and wanting her more. Something like that just won't work out if you don't also enjoy that. But for her, normal sex didn't do it for her, so even though we had great chemistry we would never see eye to eye in the bedroom. Dripping and leaking afterwards for her. The amount of stamina required and the significant value of general fitness. If someone had told me in school that gym class was mainly going to aid you in sexual contexts, I would have made a much greater effort. Flopping and slapping noises as your bodies meet. When you both have squishy tummies and your belly buttons meet up just right so they make a fart noise. Maybe that's just me. I call that the interstellar docking sequence. If your significant other is lactating, the oxytocin from sex can cause milk to squirt on you. This thread better not awaken anything in me. Oh, well, hello new fetish. Just when she's getting close, my tongue cramps up. Jaw, fingers, ... and the needing to breathe when she has both your nose and mouth in just the perfect spot. How wildly varied orgasms and time can be. Sometimes you can be extremely turned on, go for too long and dribble at the end. Other times you're extremely turned on, fire off fast, and it's like you've got a hose. You've got those seconds rounds that fire off harder than the first. It just varies so damn much. Queefs. Curious pets. Spontaneous genital malfunction, all genders. The dreaded taint smash. Muscle cramps. Falling out of rhythm. Flesh farts when two particularly well-fitting sweaty areas match up and there's a little air in between, and it escapes. Real farts. Short and accidental MMA matches. I've taken an elbow to the eye socket. And the sentence "I don't bend that way." That's all I can think of off the top of my head. Your dick occasionally slips out. Then it tries to find a different hole. AKA the showstopper. When you're so close together that you're now basically stuck together with sweat and having to pull yourself apart after. And sometimes the hollows of your chest or whatever suction to theirs and make a fart sound. Then you've gotta stop and laugh. When you are a foot taller than your SO and lining up is difficult. You can be sexually incompatible with someone. They might want the deep, slow romantic shit you see in movies. And you might want filthy, degrading, dirty talk. And you might be turned off doing what they like most. And vice versa. Also the leg cramps. I can relate to that. My wife is into some really weird stuff. But she also thinks blood shouldn't be a lubricant. So, whatever. You mean sex ketchup. Sometimes, even if a woman is really turned on, she doesn't get wet. Sometimes you lose your spatial awareness. Partner and I were having a grand old time. I lost sense of the bed dimensions king. We were all over the place. Then I fell off the bed, ass over elbows onto my head and farted upon impact. I was embarrassed. He got me an ice pack for the knot on my head. We've been married 17 years now. And still laugh about it. Be safe, kids. Her legs might start vibrating at an alarming rate. I thought she was having a seizure and panicked, but don't be dumb like me. Apparently some girls do that when they about to orgasm. Long sex does not necessarily mean good sex. For one, the girl can get sore, especially if the guy is big. It can also get boring if it goes on too long. It's all about finding the sweet spot, timing-wise. I think it's been knocked into the heads of too many guys that the ideal is lasting for hours. For some women, I'm sure they love that. Others, not so much. Your mind wanders. Like, you'll be trying to enjoy what's going on and you'll know damn well that you have been wanting this to happen for a while. And you'll still have random one-off thoughts. It can take some self-discipline to stay in the moment, especially since not everything you're doing is necessarily what's best for you. Wait a minute, if I use mutexes I could stop the images from being uploaded in the wrong order but still download them simultaneously. Great dirty talk. If she gets overstimulated and either starts to cry, faint, or laugh uncontrollably. Personal experience is when my girlfriend was grinding and she came and began laughing hysterically. Made me feel a little bad and uncomfortable, but she explained it to me. Hip cramps. Basically when your legs are spread too wide for too long and your hip flexor becomes a traitor requiring your leg to be straight, or you'll be in too much pain for enjoyment. Even worse when it's both of your hip flexors cramping at the same time. A latex allergy makes things interesting for me. I have to always prepare and bring latex-free condoms if sex will be a possibility. It's a little awkward when a guy goes for a condom and I have to give him the briefing on what's up and go for mine instead. And you can't really predict if it's a good fit for him. Fun stuff. The falling asleep afterwards thing. But there's cleanup and peeing to do. I don't know how people just roll over and sleep in their own slime while your pee hole cements itself shut. Policemen will sometimes rudely interrupt you by knocking on the car window. Probably shouldn't be in their police car doing that stuff. When you could go all night, but she thinks you're about to cum, and says don't cum yet, but just hearing that makes you cum. The apology later is the weird part. You're not always gonna have sex with someone right out of the shower. Sometimes it's in the moment and it doesn't always smell, let's say, awesome. The noises. And the smells. Sex has its own smell. I used to deliver Chinese food and pizza in a resort mountain town. I delivered to someone at a fancy lodge once time and a dude in a robe opened the room door. The sex funk hits me square in the nose. Most potent I ever smelled. Like it was going to linger in the hallway for a while after the door closed. That's strong. He asks me if I'm having a good night as he's paying me. And I said, not as good a one as you, and I hear a woman start cracking up in the room. Some people can't do two physical things at once. So they might be able to kiss, but once having sex they're bashing teeth, sticking tongue out too far, rotating the head the wrong way. Just wrong. It's like they can't coordinate two types of bodily movement at once. Sheets come off. Mattresses slide. Blankets start to bunch up no matter how flat they lied. Pillows nowhere near the two of you will get launched. Things on the headboard are gonna fall over, just watch. Sex will turn a bed that is perfectly made into one that just hosted a slumber party, with a big sweat spot down the middle. Your first paragraph reads like a poem, and I can't tell if that's intentional or not. When you try out a new position and it really doesn't work, and you kind of just have to be like EHHH. Next. Boob farts. Show me how them tits fart. Hi, I know it's been 2 years, but this message keeps me up at night. What does it mean? When he keeps rubbing and thinks he has the clit, but it's not. So you try to reposition your body differently against his hand, or rub it yourself. Attempt to guide him there. But he keeps rubbing your pubic bone raw anyway until you give up and just get on top.